2 seconds, folks. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the CL Open, the NQ Open. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades discussed are for educational purposes. It's possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please. Just a heads up. So I don't know if anybody was watching the Gold Open. It's very hard to do the Open when you're in the process of breaking new highs or lows. That definitely added to the difficulty, I think, of trading this morning's Gold Open. If anybody was watching it or testing it or whatever, trading it, it was not an easy, definitely was not an easy trade this morning. You'd think it would be. You'd think it would be up guaranteed because gold is so up, just like oil this morning. Oil is down, almost $4.50. So let's take a peek at the ATR. So I'm showing around 17-ish, somewhere in that area. We need to find a perfect way to find ATR. Today is a volatile day, so you might want to adjust. Chantal, it's not WASD. We're not WASD. You sent the WASD message. Um, you might want to increase your stops this morning. Or maybe I'm just seeing no, I'm seeing an old message. Forget it. I'm just seeing an old message. Don't worry about it. It's me. It's me. Forget it. I'm seeing an old message. All right. So the oil open takes place at 9 o'clock. Yeah, I think so. I forgot how to do it. Don't worry about it this morning. All right. So my setup for the oil open. So look, this morning oil's very bearish, but when we do the oil open, we're basically looking for the first good signal. That's the way we've been doing the oil open, looking for the first good signal. In some ways, we don't mind if oil's up. We're trying not to think about it if it's up, down, or sideways. We're looking for the first good signal off of tick strike for the open. So let me show you the setup I use. I have a template that I save. When you have a template, you can load it. You don't have to set up your software every day with the exact same. If your setup is basically the same, or it's just easier to revise it also. So my oil open, just to go over the whole thing because it's Monday. Ticks above the range, I keep it at 1. Ticks below the range, I keep it 1. Graphic shown on chart is checked. And one-click look-back bars is 1. Using one target for 8 ticks, one with a runner of 40 ticks. Stop should be at least 22 today, probably more. When my first target is hit, I'm moving my stop to break even -4. So when I get 8 ticks, I'm moving my stop to break even -4. and I'm using the squeeze play. When you use the squeeze play, you have two ways you can enter. Let me record this. I'm going to go over that one more time because I want it in the recording. So I'm going to start one more time. Let me fix my recording. Just a heads up, Friday is Good Friday. There's no trade rooms. The markets are closed. Remember last year we had no jobs report for the first time ever that I can ever remember. Okay, so the oil setup that I use, I load my template by going to template, load, and then first you put your software on the chart like we always do. Click JOBB version 9. So it shows up in configured, and then I have a template. My template is one tick above the range, one tick below. Graphic shown on chart is checked. One position for 8 ticks, a second position for 40 ticks. Today the stop is 22. It probably really, if you want to do this the right way, the stop probably should be more than 30 today because of the tremendous volatility in oil. If my first target is hit, my stop's going to move to break even -4. You can do this using the micro MCL, and it is a squeeze play. Now, sometimes I like to use the range for my stop. Now, oil tested the low not too long ago. I mean, it's been at least half an hour. It's been about half an hour. So it tested the low 8 o'clock. Okay, so it's 35 minutes ago. Not as strong a magnet trade if it hadn't tested the low that recently. It would be a stronger magnet trade if the low hadn't been tested in a while, longer while. It still could be a magnet at some point. Not sure it'll do it before the open. We're pretty far. We're almost 100 or 80 ticks away. That's, 80 ticks in these markets, it's unbelievable to think that 80 ticks in oil is not that much, but it's not anymore. We see 100 tick moves in minutes. I mean, that's not the most common thing that happens, but it's been happening. So the concept behind the way we're going to do the oil open is we're trying not to overanalyze it. Yes, we know oil is bearish, okay? But it's still possible to get an upward move at the open. If you look at a 30-minute chart, oil dropped dead at the market open last night, right? A little bit after, oil made a new high when the markets opened last night, and then it has sold off since. It's had a few bursts to the opposite direction, but the analysis is oil is bearish. Obviously, if oil's down $4 plus, it's bearish. It doesn't take a scientist to know that. We know oil's bearish. It doesn't automatically mean we're going to take a short on the open. So I want to welcome folks that are streaming. Thanks for watching on YouTube. I hope everybody had a good weekend, as good as you can have. All right, maybe we'll get some spring, some spring weather. It's been raining and miserable and cold where I am. I can't stand it anymore. It's April. It's April. So one lesson that we learned is when we're doing these opens right at new highs and new lows, it is riskier because you never know. It's just like when you're trading at new highs and new lows. Obviously, we never know anything. We don't know what direction things are going to go. You have your analysis. At new highs and new lows, it can be trickier because you just don't know when those highs and lows are going to end and it's going to start going in a different direction. That's the issue. You can get 12 tests of a new high and then it'll reverse on a dime. So sometimes it's better to just sit aside when a market's making new highs and new lows so that there's plenty of days where it's not making new highs and new lows at the time you want to trade. It's all about, can you deal with not trading? And it's very difficult. You set your schedule, you have minimums and maximum amount of monies you'd like to make. And, if you have a day where you're not going to trade, it's very hard to follow that. It's probably, this weekend I was just thinking about what are the most difficult things we deal with as traders. I was going to do a webinar. In fact, I'm going to. Not a webinar, yeah, a little webinar. The hardest things we deal with as traders. So, you know what? I'm not going to give them away now. I'll do it I'll make a little video and I'll post it on Facebook or YouTube. Anyway, so we're just watching. Oil's been sold off a little bit. A little bit. It made a new low at 8 o'clock. So right around the time Mark came into his trade room in California, he probably took a short, right? That's my guess. And that was the direction this morning. If you started watching oil, 7:30 this morning, there's no possible way, I don't think, you could have taken a long discretionary trade. Although nothing would surprise me. You never know. Um, Crude was rocking. Yeah, Mark, you can see it. When I got here, well, I was looking at gold when I got here, but I looked at crude. Look, if you get up, maybe if I wasn't working this job. Okay, right. I think that's a good rule, Mark. I love that rule, actually. I love that rule. Don't even look at gold unless there's news. So tomorrow, you trade the gold open. Today, you don't look at it. There's no 8:30 news. I love it. Love that rule. I think it's a winner. Um, but oil, if I didn't work here, I would probably do it the way that Mark is doing somewhat, in that I would be an early morning trader and I'd be done by 10 o'clock. I would not be trading after 10 o'clock. I would probably not be trading after the NQ open unless there was a WASD report, a report that was worth trading during the day. FOMC, there's a few that are worth trading, but I would be done 90% of the time. I'd be done at 10, and then maybe I'd come back for the NQ in the afternoon, 2:30 to 3. I'd start maybe and go till about 10 minutes to 4 p.m. Eastern time. That would be my trading methodology, the times that I would trade if I did not have this job. And I say it because I have this job, my trading is much more reports. It's truly the way I prefer to trade. I prefer reports. But just like everybody else, I would like a couple of extra things also to add to report trading. And I really enjoy specific time trading. That's the only way that I could possibly ever trade. Specific time. Now, I am the kind of person, I'm on my computer all day. I would have the financial news on. If something goes on in the world, you can find a time where news is so dramatic during the day, you might find trading opportunities, right? So you have to be prepared. Think outside the box, time-wise. You don't want to put yourself in a corner and be so firm about everything you decide that you have no flexibility. But to me, I mean, I've been thinking a lot about WASD. I've been thinking a lot about how few people traded WASD. And no matter what, to me, I'm I'm gonna trade it. I'm gonna trade it, especially in the spring. But I need help with one thing that's pretty important, and I can't for the. You know what? I think I'll email broker support. So here's my question. We have a couple of minutes. Maybe somebody knows better than I do. I can't figure this out. I can't figure out an easy way to do this. So if you understand trading grains, grains have limit up and limit down. I cannot find easily, like let's say I want to know what today's limit up corn price is and what today's limit down corn price is. Is there a place where the exact value is printed or something close to the exact value? They give you a percentage where limit up and limit down takes place, but I've never been able to find a daily number that would represent that if. In other words, there might be different scenarios that could change that number. There's sites that show pivots, different reasons for different levels, but I've never been able to find corn limit up, corn limit down daily prices, or soybean limit up, limit down daily prices. Now, I have to be truthful. I haven't spent a ton of time looking because I have so many things I'm looking at. But every time I look, I can't find it. I cannot find it. Now, I would assume most of you know what I'm talking about. Limit up means that if price moves so much in one trading session, the market will stop trading until the next session. That's what limit up and down means. And we've seen it happen at least 2 times last year. That there was such a big move after the reports we were trading that corn and soybeans both stopped trading. And that means if you're in a trade, you can't get out until the next session. Our markets don't, like the NQ does not have a limit up and a limit down. They do sometimes stop trading. They'll make announcements, though. It's a little bit different the way they deal with it. They will put breaks sometimes on the markets. That's different. Limit up, limit down is a set percentage, and it is in play every day. And the reason I want to know it, I would like to keep people in the room safer by being able to give that number. I was a little bit concerned on Friday's WASD that soybeans had so much volatility and they were up so much at the time of the trade. My fear was, what if they go up to limit up? I didn't want, now most of us don't trade soybeans anyway, but Eric was trading soybeans. I didn't want Eric to get stuck in a trade. Anyway, we're watching crude, waiting for the open. Obviously, we're closer to the low than we are to the high. So once again, the way that we play it, we're going to try and take the best signal, going to the website time.is to check my time sync. We're going to take the best tick strike signal at 9 o'clock. If there's a signal right at 9 o'clock, we hesitate on that first signal. So I want to remind everybody on YouTube, if you hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. Sign up for our channel so you know the next time we're going to be streaming. We stream almost every day. All right, so we're just waiting. So we're watching the oil market. Maybe we can start these rooms 15 minutes at 15 minutes of. We don't need a half hour to get ready for this. What's everybody think about that? Starting the room 15 minutes before the oil open instead of at 8:30. We could have a 4-minute trade room. Hey, Jody, you're up early. So this week we've got some very, very impactful reports. PPI tomorrow, PPI Wednesday. CPI's tomorrow, PPI's Wednesday. Inflation reports, you know they're going to move the markets. How could you have a blizzard? Don't you live in Lake Tahoe? Well, will that snow last more than like half a day? Are you up in the mountains? All right, so we got about 3.5 minutes to go. So if you're up 6,500 feet, wouldn't your weather be on the cold side or not necessarily because it's California? So it's interesting. You live in a place in California that has a winter. Now, why would you want to live in California and have a winter? It kind of defeats the whole purpose of being from California, doesn't it? Unless you like to ski or snowboard. So we're waiting for that 9 o'clock first signal, and I'm not thinking about what direction I'm going to go. And everybody watches me. My tendency is to take the signals too early. So I'm trying to control myself and not take the signal too early. So where I live, it's not ski and swim. It's shoot and maim in the same day. You go out, you get shot, and you're maimed. That's what it's like where I live. Shoot and maim, I call it. You don't have cloudy days, sun, forest fires, right? No humidity, right? I have this app on my phone. It like tells me everything that's going on near where I live. I invariably wake up every morning, gunfire, gunshots heard like 600 feet from where I'm living. So I need an AK-47, probably. All right, we got 1 minute for the oil open. 1 minute. And you can do this with MCL. Okay, it can be done with MCL. So just waiting. No idea what direction this move's going to make. And remember, I'm going to try and pass on the first signal. I'm going to try and let the first signal go because if it's exactly at 9 o'clock. So I'm passing on that signal. Now it may cost me. So I think I know what I think. I'm not overjoyed with that signal. I could have waited, in all honesty, and it's Monday. I could have waited. It's sort of like the signal held on, held on, held on. I'm hoping it'll hit my first target. It's one tick away. Okay, it hits my first target. Now I want to expand my target. I have a pretty big target. I want to get my stop to break even so I don't give anything back. It may cause a stop out. Now I'm going to just let it ride. That's the way we've been doing it. I'm going to let it ride. I don't think I entered that so well. Now I'm going to trail a little. Okay. Now, one thing we've thought about is trailing after a candle closes. Now, see what's so interesting. What did we say about trading opens? My stop is going right to the top of the previous candle. Previous candle. It might be too close. Okay. It might be too close. My target is very far away. My target's a runner now. My target is now a runner. If the market pulls back, I'm only going to make less than 200. So it's up to you. It's pulling back now. I was going to say it's up to you how close you want to trail. That's a personal management decision. I don't think it's unreasonable to wait for, like, Mark had a good suggestion, wait for a candle to close because it might let you trail with a little bit more profit. But even still, my stops are a little bit tight for today. So we can watch the video on this. I mean, not bad, not bad. Look, you could have trailed it up quick and made close to 400 on that trade. But the decision is, do you want to try and get the runner? Do you want to try and get the runner? Okay. I don't think that that was a bad management way to trade it, to be honest. I don't think that was bad. We took we took the trail to the top of the previous candle. That's not bad. Okay. Now we only do one trade, one oil trade. We're just trading the open. That's it. That's it. So let me get rid of the video. Let me render the video. In fact, let's look at the open. All right. Let's look at it. So, on a day like today, that was a tough signal. I thought that that was a tricky signal, to be honest, because it didn't quite stop the way that I would have liked it to have stopped at the time at when the trade was over. Okay, when the trade was over, when the trade started, I mean, the signal didn't quite stop. Hang on, because my videos are going into a really weird place. I don't. Oh, I know why they're going into the wrong place. Okay. Okay, let's look at the signal. It was not an easy one because it wasn't. Okay, so before the open, there was a signal run 1 second before. So I waited, but it never stopped. So I took the that to me represents a pretty powerful move. Now maybe you could say I shouldn't have taken it there, but if the signal doesn't stop, that tells me a lot of orders are coming in. Now, do you argue that, Mark? I mean, what do you think? Was that the wrong way to take the signal? And don't hold back. You're never going to hurt my feelings. You know that. It just seemed to me that if the light never goes out, it's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. I thought it was pretty straightforward also. So that was my reason. It worked. And that's, it is nuanced. Okay. And look, if you didn't move your stop, you could still be trailing. So those are decisions you have to make. Okay. Those are decisions you have to make. I like to reboot my platform at times and then reboot it, bring it back. All right. So let's reset. And let's go over to NQ Now, this week is oil rollover week, so beware of that. Later in the week, oil's going to roll over. I think it's due to roll over Thursday. It's due to roll over Thursday. But it means volume is going to get mixed as the week goes on. It's just something to be aware of. That's all. Something to be aware of. All right. We're looking at the NQ now. All right. NQ. I'm going to trade it live with MNQ this morning. So let me pull up my NQ setup. So I've got a template. I've got a million templates that I've made on the NQ. Let me make sure I pull up the right one. Okay, I think I'm going to use a 175 tick stop. One tick above the range, one tick below the range. Okay. Graphic shown on chart gets checked. But remember, I'm not using the range to enter a trade. Break-even profit ticks is set to 30. Break-even trigger ticks is set to 70. What does that mean? That means if the market moves in my direction 70 ticks, my stop's going to be moved to break-even plus 30. Break-even trigger ticks is the amount of ticks you want the market to move before you move your stop to break even. Then you can do a further move with break even profit ticks to break even plus any number. And what's nice about this feature, which is different than target one stop move, it's not based on whether or not a target gets hit. It's based on just the way the market moves. That's all it's based on. It's not based on a market being hit, a target being hit. Okay. And it works in breakout trades. Now, there's one other interesting part of this. It's a it's a three input issue. You know how a lot of times there's a whipsaw the first couple of seconds? So sometimes you don't want to move your market until that crazy whipsaw is out of the way. So you can delay moving your break even trigger ticks and your break even profit ticks by any number of seconds you want to delay. So you could do a 5-second delay. That was made in the old days when we used this feature before we even had a target one stop move. That entry didn't exist at the time that the break even profit and break even trigger tick existed. In other words, break even trigger, break even profit existed when the software was first invented. Target one stop move came much later. So they are different in that target one stop move moves your stop if a target is hit and filled. Break even trigger ticks moves your stop just if the market moves a certain amount of ticks. So it's a different concept, okay? You could still use the target one stop move also, okay? But I wouldn't use them both together. It doesn't make sense. Your target's going to get hit if your stop moves further than your target, right? So your target would get hit. So you don't need the target one stop move in this particular case. Anyway, starting again from the top. Ticks above range one, ticks below range one. Graphic shown on chart will show us the range. One click bar look back is one. All that means is we're using a 1 bar range if we were going to use an entry using the range. Generally, I don't enter the open that way. I've got a target of 30 ticks, a target of 100. My stop is 175, and I'm using the squeeze play. Now today, obviously, the NQ is really bearish, right? Would I call this a magnet trade? I would. It's not a fantastic one because it already made a recent low 40 minutes ago. It's a stronger magnet if it hadn't tested the low so recently. But the NQ is so darn bearish today that, and the markets are very heavy. They're really acting very heavy today. It doesn't mean that we're going to have a short side open. It doesn't mean that at all. I try not to overthink the NQ open. I generally will take the first good signal at the open. I don't, if I were going to analyze today, I think it's going to be a short sided open today. I think it's a short open. But we have found that we do just fine taking the first good signal. The high of the day is very far away. The low of the day is close. The market's down a lot, okay? Over 100 points. Yeah, and it's like I was saying about crude. Crude could have been a short. If you went by the analysis of crude, you would have taken a crude short. But I was totally prepared to take that crude long signal, right? Because that's what we have learned works. Now, Chantal trades the open where she doesn't take a long if the market is below the VWAP, right? Below the VWAP. Oh, this chart doesn't have any of my stuff on it. I don't think. No, wait, let me see what's going on here. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. All right, my VWAP is on there. Good. Everything is on there because I made a different chart. Look at that band. That's the VWAP band. Mark, is your VWAP band quite that big? It's huge today. Oh, I have it off to the side, Jody. I'm sorry. My mistake. Sorry. 1 second. Look at that VWAP band. That's crazy. So obviously today's price is a little bit bearish. It's bearish, but Chantal trades differently than I do at the open. She will not take a trade if price is below the VWAP. All right. So we've got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I guess in my heart, I would prefer to take a short today. That's what I would prefer. But we've noticed, we've been testing this day in, day out, that we will take any direction. So, Mark, I have to assume you're bearish on the NQ, but you would still take a long at the open. So we got a good 10 minutes. So, we talk about all the same things. There could be gap fills, there could be continuation because the market's bearish on a Monday. I mean, you can wait a couple of seconds to see where the signals play out. So we're just waiting now. We know also that orders start to come in at 9:25. At times we see a heavier dose of orders between 9:25 and 9:30. I'm not going to trade before the open today. I'm certainly going to try not to. There's a lot of Fed speakers coming up apparently at 9:30. Why don't they just let the market open and then do their yakking? Why do they have to do it right at the open? Is that necessary? They obviously think it is. Why don't they wait? So, who's scheduled to speak this morning? Bostic at 9:30, Bowman, Williams, they're all talking. Evans at 12, Williams at noon, Evans at 12:40. So they're going to be talking. They're talking. So we're just waiting until 9:30. And there's never a guarantee of direction. The one thing we know is we can't guarantee direction. So we'll see. Market's down 14,128-ish was the low. See, I think it's going to go test that low probably before the darn open. That's what I think. Hey, Chantal. I'd say we're below the VWAP a little bit. So we're just waiting. Waiting for that open. So I would love if price just hangs around here until the open. I don't think it will. I would love if it would. My gut feeling, it's going to go and test the open. That's my gut. CL went the opposite way. All right, so 9:30 is coming up now. 9:25 first. CL had a good open, a trailing open. All right, we're just watching. We have about 4.5 minutes. 4.5 minutes. And I'm trying not to trade before the open. Waiting for that 9:30. This is the hardest 5 minutes in the day. The hardest 5 minutes in the day is just watching. No doubt about it. So just waiting. Not much to talk about. We're just sitting tight, relaxing. Because trading's so relaxing. I have a beer, cigarette, a couple of doobies. Sit back in a big easy chair. Do your trade. Bottle of whiskey. It all helps. Doobie. How about a blunt? Is a blunt? What's the new term, Mark? What's the new term? A blunt? An L? I never even heard that phrase. What's an L? An L? Jody, that's insane. And it's snowing? It's snowing? Is it really called an L? I swear I never heard that phrase. But I haven't been doing a lot of smoking lately. Have not been doing a lot of smoking lately. Smoking in the boys' room. Nope, haven't been smoking. Two more minutes. Two more, minute and a half. Minute and a half. Yeah, Jody. I mean, he tries to make me feel like I'm an old loser. But you're young and hip. You're young and hip. And you never heard of it. I'm young and hip. I never heard of it. I'm pretty hip. I am pretty darn hip. I know where it's at. I know what's going on. All right. So we'll see what the first signals are. I definitely prefer the short side this morning. It could cost me a losing trade, but that's my gut. As long as you have the broker's phone number handy, Jody, make sure you have that number handy if you do trade. I'm just waiting for confirmation here, folks. I want to see some confirmation on the signal. So it hits my first target. I'm shrinking my stop because if it goes up, I don't want to be I don't want to be short. I don't want to be long, to be honest. I don't want to be long today. You know, you could say maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't. I don't. Now, I didn't mean to move my stop where I got taken out, but that would have been like a $200 trade on the full size NQ. But I don't really care today. I'm going to take my profit. I don't want to be long. This market to me is a short. It's a short. I believe it's going to test that low. That's what I believe. So I took my profit when it got above my entry. I don't know if I'm going to trade again. I may wait and see. I believe it's going to test that low. It's pretty choppy. It's pretty choppy. It's pretty choppy. I may take my profit and let it ride. It's going down without signals, so I may just wait for tomorrow. 28 $28 profit on the micro. It's going to test that low. It just is, I believe. Hopefully it'll fill my first target. I entered late. Okay, so I'm done. It entered late. I moved my stop to break even, and there's too much chop to survive the stop move. So I'm okay with 2 quick scalps this morning. Perfectly okay. I don't totally. There's the test. So a couple of ticks on the NQ, not that much different. I think it's going to keep going down today. These are negative markets, very negative markets. I'm live. I traded both trades live. That would be $500 on the full size NQ. It's 57.50 on the micros, 2 contracts. The reason that I'm not trading the full size NQ yet is our account's a little bit small. It's a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. You really want to have at least I think 30,000 is not enough to trade the full size NQ with 175 tick stop. Okay. That's not a big stop. I mean, that's not a small stop. It's a big stop. Take a quick picture of my profits. But I want my screens clean. So I knew it was going to test the low, okay? There are days when I absolutely will trade what I know, and that's different than Mark does it. But that's a magnet trade. Magnet trades, they work. They work a lot. So, it's all a question what you're willing to risk, which indexes you're willing to trade today, okay? It's up to you how much money you have in your account and what you're willing to risk. Did anybody trade with me? No, it was never a strong bull signal. The first signal was takeable, Mark. It was takeable, as if maybe there was going to be a quarter of a gap fill. It usually doesn't go right down. It doesn't usually go right down. And I think you're probably right about using plus 12, especially if it's opposite direction, Mark. Exactly. If it's opposite direction, you should take the same direction unless you get a big signal. So did anybody trade with me? Anybody trade the open with me? Anyone? Let me tell the people on YouTube that they can join our trade room, and then I'll come back and we'll chat for a minute. So people on YouTube, thank you for watching us. Hit the like button. Don't forget, you could join our trade room, www.jointhetraderoom.com. It's only $97 a month to join our trade room. I think you should do it. We're definitely setting up some interesting new things, and our old things, a lot of them are working great. So thanks on YouTube. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. We'll be streaming tomorrow. Chantal, you can shut them down. Thanks everybody on YouTube. Don't forget to like us. And